Greetings and salutations, Internet people, Tumblr activists, Redditors, geeks, nerds, freaks, and Magic fans alike. Welcome tonight to GameSwap in Mason, Ohio, for at least 3 rounds of exciting standard action. I'm Jason Morgan, here with my good friend Kyle Kepi.
Hi, folks.
And we will be providing likely very poor commentary tonight, but, you know, hang with us. It might be so bad it'll be funny, so that should be worth your time.
We'll get some chuckles in, and this first round's looking pretty exciting. I'm excited about Mono Black Zombies.
And I'm excited about Blue-Red Control.
Yeah, you know, so see how this lines up. And so I've been playing some zombies for the last few weeks, kind of convinced that it's a great deck. And Jason, on the other hand, feels that Blue-Red Control might be one of the better decks in the format just because of its claim that it has a good Marvel matchup. I'm not convinced.
I think it's currently very well positioned, yes. I think that it has the tools to deal with zombies, as we will see in this match. And I think that it's also got the tools to deal with Marvel, at least on paper.
And that opening hand looks like some counter spells. One Harness Lightning.
And one.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a one-lander. He's shipping.
Oh, was that a one-lander? I thought I saw an Island Mountain.
But yeah, I do know that a big point of contention with the Blue-Red Control versus Marvel matchup is hardcast Ulamogs. And I contend that can be dealt with by increasing the number of summary dismissals in the sideboard.
Summary dismissals.
That's not the matchup that we're watching right now, so. And Alex is doing a great job of hiding his opening hand from all of us.
Yes, he is actually coveting it, smuggling against his belly, you know, just.
He loves his zombies. Literally. So it looks like he's capped. Alex is capped. That looks infinitely more playable.
Yeah, those are negates there, or I can't tell the difference between these cards. They've changed the arts on them. They all almost look the same.
Metallic Mimic naming zombies.
So Metallic Mimic's going to give each zombie that comes into play a 1/1 counter as it comes into play.
Pass. Is he holding up Censor here? I think he is. Alex deftly playing around it.
Yeah, playing smart. I think he's going to get that 2 in.
So I think you definitely cycle the Censor here.
Yeah, that's generally if it's not going to get the one guy, if he's playing around it, obviously, he's only going to draw more lands. It's only going to get worse. Still playing around the Censor.
Yeah. I think just incidentally.
Yeah, generally with the Black-White Zombies deck, you want to get an early Wayward Servant just to kind of get those early pings in from the Wayward Servant. Every zombie you cast is going to gain you a life and take a life from them. And
yeah, I think the really interesting thing about the Zombies deck right now is that it's not traditional aggro in the sense that you're trying to rush your opponent's life total down from 20 to 0 as fast as possible, but more just kind of build an insurmountable advantage over time.
Yeah, and talking with you about the deck, I realized that more and more, rather than just kind of pushing in some incremental damage, that just taking the turn off and drawing cards is often the correct play, rather than just pushing for 2.
Harness Lightning on the Servant there.
Harness Lightning for 4, even though it was only a 3/3. There's he might have let the Lord of the Curse resolve and made a mistake. The Metallic Mimic doesn't have a counter on it per se, but I think we're using that to represent the Lord of the Accursed pumping it. So the Metallic Mimic's going to swing in for 3.
That 4th land coming into play tapped there is kind of a blow to the tempo, considering he's got 2 Glimmer of Genius in hand.
Yeah. The deck really just wants to start chaining Glimmers, and without that kind of access to card selection, it's hard to kind of mount much of a defense.
Indeed. So importantly, Sweltering Suns at the moment would still...
Sweltering Suns is a live draw.
Do some work.
Yeah, it would be a blowout, honestly.
Brice scooping him up.
It's probably the correct to scoop there, but it's a little bit early.
I think he was pretty dead.
What was that?
I think he was pretty dead.
He was pretty dead.
So as a Zombies player, what are you looking to bring in from the sideboard in this matchup?
Post board, especially with like Jerry Thompson's list and probably this Black-White Zombies list as well, you're going to want to bring in Scrap Heap Scroungers out of the board as just kind of more recursion.
Mm-hmm.
It's also early aggression, and it just kind of keeps sticking around, kind of taxes the Magma Sprays.
Right.
Because Brice is going to want to be leveraging his Magma Sprays to take out exile Dread Wanderer, exile Scrap Heap Scrounger, and
Relentless Dead.
And Relentless Dead, yeah, I forgot all about that guy. Especially seeing that Alex had Relentless Dead game 1. And in addition to that, I think Transgress is not great here. It's just kind of not really what you want, the access you want to be fighting on. And you can also be changing your removal to kind of make it better suited towards...
Right, like Grasp is doing nothing.
Grasp isn't bad. Grasp is better than Fatal Push.
Fatal Push is doing nothing.
Fatal Push, you can only bring in so many cards. You can only take so many out. And so sometimes I think you end up, depending on how many removal spells you have in your main, that you might be stuck playing Grasp and kind of trying to just make the Torrential Gearhulk small enough to trade with, or to actually, sometimes you can eat them up. If you got like a 4/4 and stuff like that, they're going to try to jam their 5/6 in front of your 4/4 and you just grasp it.
Well,
it's not the best.
They're live against Wandering Fumarole as well.
Oh, yeah, Fumarole as well. But it's just, you want to be maxing out on Dark Salvations, because it can just be...
Really? That's interesting.
I think it's fine. It's just...
I mean, isn't it often just a 3-mana 2/2 token?
Yeah. It's often, in this matchup, I think it's going to be 5 mana for 2/2s.
Okay.
And so far as you think that Fatal Push, I don't think is great here.
No.
It kills Fumarole, but it does absolutely nothing. It's a dead draw most of the time.
I feel like I'd rather have Grasp than Push if I'm
Definitely. And I think that's the trick right there. Especially, like, Jerry Thompson thinks that his kind of input on the deck, what kind of put him over the top at the Pro Tour, was the fact that he just trimmed on Fatal Push and went up on Grasp of Darkness. And I think this is one of those matchups where cutting Fatal Push entirely is fine. And, well, at worst, you're going to discard him to Crypt Breaker. That's a Fumarole into Aether Hub, and we don't have a third. Oh, is that an island?
All the way in the back? I believe that's a spell. I can see a casting cost.
So you only see 2 lands?
I do.
Ugh.
Right.
Could be risky.
And no red spells, notably. Yeah, handful of blue cards, 2 lands.
Yeah, these disallows just are not
Oh, okay, a thing in the ice. That's what was hiding in the back there. Definitely relevant.
It's relevant.
That's probably why he kept the hand, to be honest.
Yeah, but you also got to think that I just don't like that. Do you have to play disallow post board?
Huge rip there.
Yeah.
That land was super important. Otherwise, I don't know how much longer Brice stays in the game.
Definitely.
And there's another spot that grasp is good. So forced to use a counter spell on a removal spell instead of a threat.
But I think it's fine in terms. It's gonna line up well. There's a second grasp in Alex's hand, so that thing in the ice isn't long for the world.
Well, he does have another disallow. Brice does.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, just if your opponent wants to cast one spell a turn, then by all means, keep letting them do it.
I mean, yes and no, right? Like, one spell a turn is still ticking down that thing in the ice.
Exactly, yeah. If Brice has the
you were
opportunity,
saying Brice,
if Brice,
Brice's
yeah,
advantage in this position. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And you will be unsuccessful
Can't
again.
disallow fast enough.
What is this white card in Alex's hand? Oh, Time to Reflect might be one that we might want to bring up on the board. But if I remember correctly, it is exile.
Blocking or blocked by a zombie, something like that?
Yes, exile target creature that is blocked or is being blocked by a zombie. So,
you know, quite honestly, I'm a little surprised that that's a card that he would bring in, but I can see the logic.
It's a clear answer to Thing in the Ice. It's a clear answer to Torrential Gearhulk.
Indeed.
And
you're certainly not going to expect the first one. There we go.
I honestly forgot this card existed. I think I saw
Alex didn't. And now Brice won't.
Now Brice won't. So, a disallow on the Diagraph Colossus is leaving Alex's board a little anemic. Brice is able to kind of just slowly. His life total's safe. I think this turn is he's going to want to jam a Glimmer of Genius, and then we're going to be in Torrential Gearhulk range and just start chaining those silly.
Yeah,
5/6s.
I think Brice definitely takes here to cast that Glimmer.
Yeah. Well, he really doesn't have any interaction, I don't think, in his hand.
He's got a Fumarole that could block an attacking Crypt Breaker or Dread Wanderer, but I just think
we're not blocking. We're making sure we hit our 6th land. We're going to try to turn the corner as quickly as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the third card in his hand is an Anticipate.
It is. Now here's the test. One thing I noticed about all of the top zombie players at the Pro Tour was that whenever they were given the opportunity to draw a card with Crypt Breaker, they always chose to draw the card, even when it meant giving up damage for the turn.
So what Jason's trying to say here is that Alex is trading this 2 damage from this Dread Wanderer for the card that he could possibly draw by tapping the zombie token, the Relentless Dead, and the Dread Wanderer. And I think at this point,
he made the zombie token by activating Crypt Breaker. So it would have been Crypt Breaker, Relentless Dead, and Dread Wanderer to draw a card.
Yes, sure, yeah.
And there would be no zombie token.
No. You can tap the zombie token.
The zombie token was made by Crypt Breaker, right?
Yeah, so you tap the zombie token, the Relentless Dead, and the Dread Wanderer, draw a card. And I do like Alex's play here of discarding the Dread Wanderer to make a 2/2. The 2/2 is going to come into play untapped, which allows you to kind of draw that extra card while still kind of putting stuff towards the board.
Right.
And, oh my gosh, I have sound in my ears.
Yeah.
Okay, so
one of the cards that Brice was able to get from that Glimmer of Genius was the Chandra, but does he have the...
There's a Radiant Flames too, so we might be in trouble here.
Yeah, and Alex is tapped out, so that Relentless Dead won't get rebought. I think.
you know what?
I think Chandra minus is the play here.
Yeah, just jam that Chandra.
Yeah, because he'll untap. He'll get to untap. Well, no, Alex does have the man land to.
Chandra starts at 4.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, we have the Radiant Flames, and that's fine. Just casually let you know, if you had a Lord, you were still screwed. I had the third color. Just casually, you know. And what is a card that... So this is where drawing that extra card would have been nice, because we...
Indeed.
Trying to build up towards playing this Liliana's Majesty. We could have played the Shambling Vent last turn and then just had our board eaten by a sweeper, but then turn around and play a Liliana's Majesty rather than just return a Dread Wanderer.
Mm-hmm.
Anticipate. I have not been seeing that in lists, but I might have just missed it.
It's been making a comeback as a 1 or 2 of in some of these blue-red lists.
It's a nice bridge card.
It's the main thing is to hit the land drops. I mean, hitting those first 6 land drops on time is just so important.
Because casting Gearhulk on 6 is so important.
Right, exactly. Or in this case with Brice, Chandra potentially.
Yeah.
Takes the Harness Lightning there.
Perhaps
Brice at a healthy 13 life.
13 is
mana.
definitely reasonable. So, a Harness Lightning, a Torrential Gearhulk. I think you just Gearhulk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what Brice has concluded
And
as
so
well.
I'm thinking I would want a Gearhulk just because Chandra, you don't want to be turning the corner with Chandra, getting aggressive with her +1 just yet. And Gearhulk still allows you interaction. He has the disallows in the yard, and he also has kind of some... I don't think he has a Harness Lightning in the yard yet, but... or just a Glimmer, just to kind of keep advancing your board, so...
Okay, yeah, he does have the Harness Lightning, the Chandra, and the Torrential Gearhulk. So if I'm not using that Harness Lightning, I think I hold Chandra until I have 8 mana and can protect her with the Harness Lightning.
Yeah, definitely. Because I like... Alex is going to jam this Majesty, and Brice will be just flashing back a disallow with a Gearhulk. So I want to see an attack first, actually. Try to bait out a Gearhulk.
Looks like...
Oh, okay.
To activate the Manland.
Okay, so this is a similar kind of route in terms of baiting out. Your blue-red opponent has 6 mana. They got the Gearhulk.
So I wonder how much Brice fears the Grasp here.
Oh, yeah. He's fearing it. So I think Alex played that right in order to protect his Liliana's Majesty in his hand, because that card can turn the game around, But
I mean, at what point are we ever beating that Gearhulk? You know what I mean? Like, unless he brought in Transgress, you know, to lead.
Well,
like,
perhaps. He still has access to grasps and things like that, but maybe you're right. Maybe you just can't beat the Gearhulk at this point. Maybe you're too far behind.
Yeah, so you just jam. Because you're not beating a Gearhulk, so...
Yeah. I think activating the Shambling Vent, I think, was a little bit aggressive.
Well...
I would have liked an attack with a Dread Wanderer. See if he activates the Funeral, tapping himself out. Or he just takes the 2.
Yeah.
Or he jams a Gearhulk just trying to Glimmer. And then that lets you sneak in the Majesty.
Well, he's going to get to sneak it in here because Brice's shield's down.
Yeah. You got it.
And Chandra's going to have to -3 to kill those, which leaves her open to a counterattack by...
A shambling vent that's going to be eaten up by a torrential Gearhulk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or just blocked by the Fumarole.
Right.
Brice will be protected now. He can take the turn off to board wipe and not worry about losing his Planeswalker.
And Alex is in top deck mode, so corner turn here?
Oh, easily. Yeah, a few turns ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, regardless of the fact that Chandra's going to eat your board, you still have to cast that Majesty. Or Mastery. Let's flash them both back. Isn't there two?
I think there is, yeah. One that died to the Radiant Flames.
Yeah. Let's hope Alex remembers them. Yeah, get that other guy out.
One of them's going to get Magma Sprayed.
Sure. Well, let's say both of them get Magma Sprayed via a... can Brice win this turn with a Gearhulk 5 plus the 6 from the Chandra and then 4 from the Wandering Fumarole? So end of turn. Let's have a Gearhulk.
Yep.
Oh no, you missequenced it.
Well, I mean those Dread Wanderers aren't blocking, so.
True. Sure. I guess it doesn't even matter at this point. It's elementary.
Right. Yeah, I mean if I'm Brice here, I just go full greed and flash back the Glimmer.
Okay, so he's already cast the Magma Spray, and so I think that just he's got the game locked up. But just in terms of preferred way of playing it out, let's see if he sees the line.
He does. And there we go.
So what do you think? Like we saw Radiant Flames that game. What else is Brice bringing in? Is he in 4 Magma Spray in the main deck? Or
yeah, I mean stock lists are 4 Spray, 4 Harness Lightning, 2 to 3 Sweltering Suns as the removal suite.
Okay.
I think that Chandra might have been a sideboard card.
Huh.
Unless he's just potentially like missing a Gearhulk and wanted to fill that slot with another 6-drop.
Yeah.
This is round 1. You can check just down in the bottom right corner.
On the old ticker.
Our lovely producer is kind enough to provide that information on screen.
Oh, man. So Alex is currently discussing with his opponent how, God, I don't even remember the card's name now. The white mana, the old zombie Path to Exile that he got him with. What was it? I don't even know. The 1 mana exile target creature that tangled with a zombie. What was that card called?
That white card?
Yeah. I don't even know now.
Well, I do have a name for it. It's not the correct name, and it's probably not something I can say on stream.
Oh, no. That card was fun looking. He got him good.
Time to reflect is what it is.
Time. Okay. That doesn't even make any sense. That's not even a removal spell. Time to reflect? It's more like zombies got you.
Yeah, and you can reflect on how well you got. By
for eternity. As
right.
you are now in exile, right. You can just reflect how you got gotted.
Right.
Oh, man. Okay. So, unsure if Alex brought in Scrap Heap Scroungers. Didn't see him that game. A start of Dread Wanderer into Scrap Heap Scrounger on the play can really put Brice on a clock that the turn 3 sweeper might not prevent enough, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
You can really just lace into your opponent without committing too much to the board, just because 2-1s into a 3-2 puts you on a solid clock. Doing some lengthy sideboarding here. Rethinking the matchup. But that's what time's for, you know. Ooh.
I think the flavor text makes sense if you consider that you're not appreciating. You need to spend time to reflect that you're not appreciating the God Pharaoh.
So the flavor text for time to reflect is occasionally there are those who refuse to appreciate all that the God Pharaoh provides for us, and so time to reflect is essentially sending zombies to go get you, to kill you, so you can reflect in eternity.
And what you've done wrong.
Yeah, that is okay. That's
which in this case was blocking or being blocked by a zombie.
Yeah, and I guess maybe honestly, that's kind of an interesting kind of take on Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshare and stuff like that, kind of leaving the battlefield and going off somewhere, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 1 mana, white removal spells, continuing flavor. And
yeah, I mean, my preferred flavor text would be get got.
Get got.
Or get some other word.
Yeah, yeah, some little bit of death grips, get got. Yeah, like I don't.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. If this stream were rated for mature audiences, I could share.
So shout out to Adam's Olds. That is not Jake on behind the keyboard. That is Old Nelson. So we don't have to criticize Jake right now unless we want to. It's not forced upon us. It's all voluntary.
Don't shout out Adam Olds.
Oh.
All right, so
we see a hand. 2 Fumarole, a Magma Spray, and Tilted Away From Me.
Looks like a mountain at the back of the hand there.
An island. Ooh, this is 4 lands. Maybe 5 lands?
Alex, once again, deftly hiding his opening hand from the camera.
Yeah, but I see a Wayward Servant. I see 2 lands. Maybe a Plague Belcher? Not sure. Ooh, letting him untap. And so I think one of the more interesting kind of play patterns that you get with the Black-White Zombies deck is right here where it's, do you want to attack before you cast the Wayward Servant, or do you want to try to bait your opponent into killing a Crypt Breaker, preventing 1 damage? Or
I mean, if I'm playing zombies, I value Crypt Breaker very highly.
Yes.
In this matchup
yes,
in particular.
Yes, and so I think just jamming a Wayward Servant, trying to get your opponent to Magma Spray the Wayward Servant, getting your opponent to censor.
And there's a Dispossess.
Oh.
Naming Torrential Gear.
Oh. I don't know if this is good or not, honestly. I'm generally not a big fan of extraction cards. And
well, I mean, it's a 3-mana Transgress.
Yeah.
Since Brice had 1
it's
in hand.
Yeah, it's a 3-mana Transgress, so it's not bad per se. And the fact that it's
I mean, he's removing all copies of arguably the best card in Brice's deck.
Yeah.
In the way that Brice intends to close out the game.
Yeah. So if I'm Alex here, I want to be looking at how else is he going to win the game? And I'm seeing 2 Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and I'm curious how many things in the ice that he's running.
I saw at least 1 more.
At least 1 more.
Yeah.
And so,
I think this makes it much more difficult for Brice to turn the corner. Like as we saw last game, once Brice hits 6 mana, he's pretty much in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Whether he's got the cards in hand or not, because it has to steer Alex's decisions.
True, yeah. So we will see how this pays off. And honestly, if you can't put up enough board pressure, that you might just lose this thing in the ice.
Well, I mean,
I'm excited here.
Brice is currently flooded, So.
Flooded might be an understatement, but yeah.
And Alex has knowledge of
The disallow.
The disallow, right?
So let's just discard our spells. Oh, disallow stifles, doesn't it?
Indeed.
How aggressively do we stifle a Crypt Breaker activation?
I think we're just countering anything and everything.
Oh well. Oh, we're letting us. Okay. And let's tap that Dread Wanderer, but shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter, honestly. He's not going to be blocking. It could matter in terms of drawing cards.
Yes, it does matter.
So
that Dread Wanderer should be tapped.
Yeah, that Dread Wanderer.
There we go. Very relevant when there's a Crypt Breaker in play.
Okay, so Brice was holding that counterspell back for maybe a Lord?
I
a Plague Belcher. So I don't even know if we want to counter that.
No, we're priced into it. Because our
you just have to. Yeah,
right. Because our thing in the ice can't counter.
Let's remember our trigger. Let's remember our trigger.
Block it. I mean.
Okay, so we remembered our trigger. Just get him. Take 3. Block the big. Yeah, block the 2.
See, I still like drawing a card if I'm Alex.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You know, I mean, we know. I don't know. It's interesting because we know that Brice is weak. His hand is weak. So maybe we're just trying to close the doors as quickly as possible.
But I'm also curious about Alex's hand. I'm just worried about running out of gas because we're not pushing on it. We don't have a Lord out. Oh,
right.
Now we have the Lord in hand, and we're still soft to a sweeper.
Brice did pick up a Glimmer on the last turn, so this game is far from over, and that's going to be a big one.
It's going to be a
4/4.
A 3/3.
Is the Plague Belcher not a zombie?
The Plague Belcher's a zombie, but he only has the Dispossess in his yard. Diagraph Colossus says that when he comes into play, he gets 1/1 counter for each zombie in the yard, and I want to say that the only zombie in the yard is a Plague Belcher. So
he keeps both cards that were on top there, and it looks like a Censor and a Disallow. Now, if I'm Brice here, I think I'm looking for removal instead of counter magic.
Yeah, the counter magic's too late. You got to be digging for the sweeper. You got to be finding your Chandra.
And I mean, if we're planning on just cycling the Censor anyway, then we might as well have just not paid 1 mana to get a random card from the Glimmer.
Oh, if he censors at if he cycles at Censor, wow, that'd be silly. Yeah, seems as if Alex missed his 1/1 counter, but not the end of the world at this point, I don't think.
And to be quite honest, I don't think Censor is a card that you want in your deck on the draw.
It could be very much like Days, where commonly in
there's a Radiant Flames. Brice does have a Radiant Flames in hand.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah, it's not going to do much against that Colossus, though, right?
No, the Colossus would have only been a 3/3 anyways. Okay. So.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think this just reinforces the point of how important it is to be drawing cards with Crypt Breaker when you have the opportunity. Because the sweeper is inevitable.
The sweeper is inevitable, and so building a hand in which you can kind of rebuild your board state.
Exactly.
So Chad is asking about the kind of difference between mono black zombies and white black. I think white black is a turn slower, but it does give you kind of access to some resiliency and shambling vent.
I think from what I've seen, white black is better positioned against Marvel because it has access to Anguished Unmaking.
Anguished Unmaking, yes. Right. Just being able to exile the Ulamog is pretty crucial.
Right. And that the 1 white 1 black 2-drop, is that Dread Wanderer? No, that's not.
The 1 white Wayward Servant?
Wayward Servant. Yeah. I mean that's
big
relevant.
Game. That card's a big game, honestly.
Certainly.
He
the price in that you can find yourself with your 4th and 5th lands coming into play tapped.
Yeah. So there's definitely some payoffs to being just mono black. There's definitely some kind of perhaps preferences that people might have in terms of playing Shambling Vent. But mono black zombie still has Westvale Abbey, which is just as good, perhaps.
And Brice appears to be firmly in the driver's seat here, and I think he has another glimmer in hand. Alex in top deck mode.
Yeah.
Just lost too many cards to that Radiant Flames.
Yeah.
But honestly, for all of you Zombies players or prospective Zombies players out there in internet land, go and watch the top 8 of the Pro Tour and see the decisions that the Zombies players make when Cryptbreaker is on the board. And that will inform your gameplay against these more controlling decks going forward, and you will be rewarded for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jason that just kind of this deck builds in a way that you don't necessarily have to be always just pushing. The deck grinds really well in the late game. And so that looks like...
Oh, that was a scatter, not a glimmer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But this should be game.
Yeah, we got a few Morale back there. Just... All right.
Red control, taking it down.
That was a pretty solid round 1. And so excited to see what we come back with. I wish Zombies would have had fared better.
Yeah, you can't really say for sure that the match plays out differently if Alex chooses to draw cards with Cryptbreaker instead of trying to push damage.
Perhaps.
But I think it at least buys him a few more turns.
Yeah, and maybe digging for the removal for the thing in the ice might have mattered. But
right.
We'll be back in about 16 minutes or so, 15 minutes. And so we hope you join us for round 2.
For another round of hot standard action.
Hot standard action. Exciting standard action.
See you in a few.